talk about Activate and what we're doing. So Michelle, why don't we start with why we're calling it Activate and take it from there.
All right. Being so engaged with our spring events for so long, I love the name Activate. I mean, there's so many different ways that we can use it, activate your business, activate your chapter, activate your network. So it just is really a fun way to incorporate into any conversation that we're having. And as Steve mentioned, it is a rebranding of our member extravaganza, which is still just so near and dear to my heart. I love it. And we can activate all sorts of possibilities for our members with these programs.
And so, I look at the slide and I am immediately drawn to member contest. What?
Ooh.
I like a prize.
There are prizes. This is actually, we're still kind of in a secret mode with the prizes. We're working out what those details are. But what I love is in the past with our member extravaganza, it was a chapter. The chapter had to achieve a goal of 6 new members in order to be eligible to win a prize. Whereas now with this, we are recognizing our individual members. So for those members that sponsor 1, for those members that sponsor 2, and those members that sponsor 3, there's going to be some recognition out there. So that's really exciting, part of the innovation of this new Activate program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, the purpose here is to bring in the right people into your chapter who are going to help you make money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got a lot of support for how we can help our chapters do that, which is what we're going to be talking about in a moment. Before we get off of this slide, though, wait.
Oh, whoops.
Go back one second.
I jumped the gun. There you go.
There is a really important point on this slide, and it is the when. So when, April 1st to June 2nd, I really want our members to get those dates in their head. Because in order to be eligible as a sponsor of a new member, that application of that new member needs to have a date of April 1st to June 2nd. That is how all of the tracking is done. So those are kind of important, especially if you're a little competitive and in there and going to get those new members. Just remember those dates.
Yeah, and I think that's good to point that out because some people may not have an event happening until the end of May, but if you've been bringing in new members since April 1st, all of those members count.
Exactly.
All right, let's move ahead.
And I did actually process date or application date. Angie, great question. Application date. It is the date on the application.
Good point.
So why would chapters want to choose this? What do you think?
I don't know. Here are some answers that I'm putting up on this little circle.
So chapters that activate have so many possibilities, but really what the goal is for all of our members in every single one of our chapters is to create new referral partnerships. So bring individuals into that circle or that sphere that you have within your chapter and allow them to build trusting relationships with the members. The members get to build trusting relationships with them. As a result, you're going to pass more referrals and make more money. And that is the goal for all of our members. In addition to those things, it's an opportunity for our current members to expand their brand and their reach through inviting tools. We encourage every member to always have their company logo, information about their business. If you're sending an email, you've got links that are going to direct them to your website. All of these ways that you're not only providing someone else with an opportunity, but you're really providing yourself with an opportunity by sharing your marketing material. And then we know that when we have visitors and new members within our chapter, it energizes our meeting in a whole new way. When I look at the participant number here and I continue to see it go up, it's like, oh, this is so exciting. We've got so many people. And we have seen chapters host events that have 200 visitors registered for a Zoom meeting. So imagine what that would do to your chapter to have that kind of engagement. And not to mention it supports the local communities and those small businesses that we really want to support and see grow.
Absolutely. I think that I'm sure there are people on this call today who have had a lot of success with whatever their growth event was that they did during April and May. So if you've got a great story, throw it right into the chat. I'm curious to see some success that you've had.
I love success stories.
All right, so how does a chapter activate?
All right. It is as simple as 3 easy steps, and we're going to talk about this a few times today. But the first thing that you want to do is select a growth accelerator. And we're going to walk through what each of those looks like in a moment here. You're going to have one of 3 choices, and we'll kind of talk about how different accelerators may be better for different chapters. So we'll take a look at what's the culture of your chapter and what's going to be the best option for your members. And then from there, you need to select a growth champion or champions, whereas it's going to be 1 to 3 or 4 members from your chapter that are going to participate in some national workshops. We'll talk about the benefits of those in a minute and bring the information back to the members. So 1, select the growth accelerator. 2, chapter champions.
All right, here is, whoops, I don't know what I just did there. Went way too fast. There we go. Registration form.
So when you select those 2 things, you're going to click on that QR code, or you'll get the link in a follow-up email where it's going to take you right to this page. Super easy to fill out. It can be filled out by the leadership team. It can be filled out by one of those growth champions. It just needs to be submitted by a member in the chapter that's going to fill in the chapter information, select your growth accelerator, and then plug in the names and emails of those chapter champions. They will then get weekly communications every Friday with what's coming up, some helpful tips, and just great resources to share with the members.
Great. All right, let's start with my favorite one.
Is this your favorite too?
This is the one that if I needed to build my chapter, I would go with this one, but we've got 2 other options for you as well. So let's start with Visitors Days.
All right. Visitors Days is actually, I don't know, traditions and innovations, man. This is all about traditions. And we know that this is a proven system. It really is a plug and play program. So this is for those chapters that have really engaged members. They are focused on a goal. The chapters that are running that structured meeting agenda to a T each and every week. And they do that because they see the value in that structure and what it provides for the members. This is oftentimes really great for those chapters that are focused on working together as a team, but also they're doing that and they're busy. There's a lot of things going on in your life, both business and personal. So you don't want to have to worry about recreating the wheel. You really just want, hey, give me the program, we'll run it, we'll get our members engaged. But I don't want to have to make anything up or come up with anything or create anything. So it truly is a plug and play program that just needs to be delivered and executed each week over a series of 5 to 6 weeks.
Here's a success story that's not my own, from Bni Washington.
So this is a great story. We've got a number of success stories. And in fact, I actually want to hear Steve's success story on Visitors Days in a moment here. But this is just one chapter that came to us from the Washington region. And during our Restart the USA initiative, they chose to do Visitors Days. But actually, it's plural because with the goal that they had as a chapter, they wanted to go from 25 members to 50 members. And they knew that might be challenging in one event. So they're actually set it up as a series of 4 events that this leadership team would hold over their term. They've already had 2 of these events. They have had over 20 to 30 registered visitors at each one of these events. They're averaging about 2 new members from each event. And then each one, it just grows and it gets bigger because not only are you having your current membership that's working on inviting, but these new individuals that you're bringing in as well. So again, just one of many success stories, which actually takes us to you, Steve.
So I will tell you my success story. And it was, I was in a chapter that was not the greatest. We had about 16 or 17 members way back in 2002 when I joined BNI. And we were kind of the social club, everybody liked us, but nobody was making money and therefore nobody stayed. And so at some point we just said, we had a director was like, just do what we're telling you to do and you'll make money because, we know more than you do. And it was true. And so we started with this. We had a big Visitors Day event and we had a great turnout. We had about 30 people or maybe even more than 30, 32 or so. And we wound up that first year with 14 new members. So the chapter practically doubled in its first attempt at a Visitors Day. So we're like, all right, this is the thing. And the next year we brought in another 8 or so members and then 12 the following year. So we went from a 17-member chapter to a 50-member chapter. And then I think we topped that at about 58. But that chapter to this day remains over 50 members. And our revenue was, 300,000, 500,000 in a good year, to going all the way up to consistently the past 10 years, 2.5 to 4.5 million every year, year in and year out. So, this works. And this is why I've got so much passion around doing this and doing it the right way.
Steve, I love it. And you know what? We continue to see those success stories year after year after year with this program. And what we've proven in 2020 is not only does it work at in-person meetings, but it works in Zoom meetings as well. The one thing that I do want to share when we talk about, the chapter that a Visitors Day program is a good fit for. So it's a series of inviting over many weeks for that one big event. And then you have to have the follow-up in place. So this is where we said, chapters that have very engaged members that are going to follow up with those visitors, that are going to take the time to mentor those visitors. Because when you, in your example, when you bring in 10 to 12 new members at one time, you have to have a good plan to onboard those new members. Otherwise, they can kind of get lost in the shuffle. So again, it's really important that if you focus on a Visitors Day and this is your growth accelerator, you've got the build up before, but it doesn't end on that Visitors Day. It carries over for weeks and weeks and weeks of follow up and engagement.
Wow. So here's Sean Leveron saying the best Visitors Day I had the opportunity to experience was a few years back for a Fireside chapter in Fort Myers, Florida. There were over 50 members at the time, which is great, and hadn't had good experience with Visitors Days in the past. The president got everyone on board, and there were around 120 people in the room, and the chapter moved to over 60 members for the first time. That makes a huge, huge difference. And then they hit over 70. So that's incredible. Great story, Sean. It is amazing the things that you can do when we focus. And I think that's the important thing, is focusing on these events. Conversely, we've got Donna who's saying the chapter has 8 members in it. They have to focus on visitors. So Donna, I wouldn't get too down on this. I would just say, all right, so we've got the 8 people we've got are 8 core and 8 strong members that we want to get together and work on this thing. Reach out to your director. Do what you can to get attention to your chapter and work on having the best event you've ever had.
Yeah, and that is such a true point. And even in that fireside example in that success story said, we didn't have successful events in the past, but it took one member, that president, to say, you know what, we're going to do it. Or in Steve's example, you know what, we're just going to follow the system and let's see what happens. But you need one member. It starts with one member to get everybody fired up, and you can be the big.
So finding that one person who's going to lead the group is really what we're talking about now when we talk about chapter champions or a chapter champion.
No, you're absolutely right. And so what we have spent a lot of time focusing on, just within BNI sometimes is talking about personalities. We all have these different personalities. If you like the DISC or you follow that, or you just like the personality assessments, go ahead and throw something in the chat, because I think you're really going to enjoy having this piece incorporated to our growth accelerators. But, different personalities have different strengths. And so you want to tap into the strengths of our members to help roll out these programs. First, there's benefits of being a champion. So yeah, it's a additional work, and we'll lay out for them the time commitment both outside of the chapter and during the chapter meetings. And I would say roughly, an hour, an extra hour a week. But the benefits to the members that are champions, they're going to get national exposure for their business. So we have workshops on a national level for each one of these programs where the member is going to attend and they have an opportunity to promote themselves in their business. We've got the step-by-step programs. So it's really just allowing that member to improve their leadership skills within the chapter, increase their VCP within the chapter. Oftentimes we find when a member is a leader, even for a short period of time, because of their visibility increasing, they're increasing their credibility through their delivery, it actually helps them be more profitable within their chapter. They get to have some team building activities, sharpen their speaking skills. So, hey, if you have a goal in 2021 to be a better public speaker, this is a great opportunity for you to jump up, try something new, and get that leadership exposure at your meetings each and every week. And the personalities that go along with the rollout of these programs, you're going to see visitors days. We can use all 4 of you guys. And if you can create a team of these individuals to help motivate the members, that S personality is going to kind of be that more nurturer that's going to tap into those members that might be a little bit more hand holding, but it really fits their personality to walk through it with them. Accountability is key. So those C or those owls are definitely going to help with that tracking and accountability. And then that eagle or that D personality, they are focused on the end results and going to keep everybody in tune with it. So a combination of all 4 of these, and man, that's a plan for success.
Yeah, I love this for a couple of reasons. One, if you have multiple people on this team, it's not just coming from one person. So when you're hearing it from the leadership and from the people who are stepping up to work together on this project, I think you're going to get a bigger buy-in. So the more people you can include, I think the better.
Absolutely.
We have a little poll.
Ooh.
How about a poll? Yeah.
Polls.
Let's see. Let's ask about champions. Can you already picture in your mind the person or persons in your chapter who are the ideal champions to work on your event?
I love this question.
Yeah, those of you who are driving, your answers are yes, definitely, pretty sure, or I have to think about it. We'll see. But I know that those of you who are in chapters that have had successes in the past with these events may go back to the people who had success with them and re-choose them as your champions. That's great. Getting a little fresh faces in the leadership team as well, or the champions team, I should say. It's also good.
And you know what? I actually saw a question came in and said, how can we add someone as a champion if we've already registered? Just register again, fill out the form. And you can throw in additional names and they'll get all of those resources. Ooh.
Yeah, so we've got the majority of you are saying, yeah. We've already got people in mind, and that's great, because that says to me, who the go-to people are in your chapter to get this done.
Absolutely. And half of your work is done as far as registering.
Absolutely. And because math is not my strong suit, technically, the combined option 2 or 3 are the majority, but only by 1%. But most of you know what you want to do. That tells me that you're in a chapter, then you're connected with your members and you know what you want. But I know that there are some others that are in smaller chapters that are struggling a little bit. And if you still need to think about who's the person who's going to be the one to step up, that's totally okay. You've got a little bit of time, just not a lot.
So I'm seeing so much great activity in the chat here, Steve.
Great.
And we will be, a few of them have asked, how do we register? And that will be coming in an email, a follow-up email, the link, or you can check with your director. They have registration links as well.
Great. All right.
So, wow, there's a lot of information.
This is a lot to look at.
It is. So I'm going to just kind of sum it up for all of our guests on the call today. You're going to have a sheet like this for each one of our programs. And really, it just kind of talks about what, why, how, all of the good stuff that we're sharing. A Visitors Day program, typically the results we see for our chapters are 5 to 10 new members as a result of joining, but that is with that follow-up. So again, it does not end on the event day. It has to continue on for a few weeks to bring those individuals in. And all you need to do is, there's that QR code. So those of you that have a smartphone, you want to just use that. You can get that link right then and there right now by March 12th, which is a week from today. That is when we're asking our folks to register. But what I really want to draw your attention to is on the right-hand side where it says Visitors Days Workshops. We've got a series of workshops for our chapters that want to roll out their event in April, and a series of workshops that will help you to support an event in May. They are 5 weeks. So this is what we're asking our chapter champions to participate in, is these 5 weeks of workshops for a Visitors Day. It is a 1-hour program. And we'll be covering all of these topics here, and you can register by using the links on this form when it gets to you.
Yeah, I know that when you look at the slide, it's a little daunting and it looks like a ton of work, but the way that it's broken out week by week, it really is not. It's a pretty simple, straightforward path to going from the conceiving the idea of getting people to buy into this and the reasons why behind it, and then working towards your big event. And Michelle has done this, I don't know, 10,000 times. So she will guide you along in a way that will be really easy for you to follow, even if your champions have never done this before.
Yep. And great question coming in from John. Our Visitors Day program workshops are from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays.
Great. All right, shall we move on?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've got some support materials as well.
We do. Yep. We've got support materials for all of our programs. And this is just kind of a glimpse of the facilitator guide for our Visitors Day program.
Great. All right, now let's move on to option number 2, the Bni Game.
The Bni Game, another tried and true Bni tradition. And when we look at this and you kind of take a look at your chapter, some of the things or some of the chapters that this might be a really good fit for are those chapters that are looking to kind of improve their culture. So maybe in the last year, with all of the changes that we experienced, that really do happen all the time in life, but switching to Zoom, maybe you slipped a little bit, or there's some things that you could improve. And as a member and as a leadership team, you recognize, what, we have some areas where we can focus and get back to those Bni basics. The Bni Game is great. Or, what, it could be a chapter that's focused on improving their Power of One score. This is another great option for you because it allows you to create some competitiveness in the chapter, divide everybody up into teams, and get back to those Bni basics. Things like passing referrals, one-to-ones, CEUs, and then, a little bit of inviting along the way too. But when we're engaged in all of these things, that inviting comes so much easier to us. So this is for, those chapters that want to be creative, have a little bit of fun, and have a quicker return on their investment for the members. The Visitors Day program, as I mentioned, is a little bit more drawn out, and then you have to focus on the follow-up. So you may not see that weekly induction of new members until the end of the program. Whereas with the Bni Game, if members are off the bat participating in more one-to-ones, we know that their referrals aren't going to increase. If they're educating themselves more and focused on those chapter education units, then they're going to learn tips on how to invite in different ways or how to expose their market their business better. So we know that that's going to help them also.
All right, great. And the Bni Game has got a lot of, in the chat here, a lot of people who are really happy with it and have been doing it for a while. Someone had success with it last summer, which is great. People are doing the game right now. So this is always a good time to implement this. But during April and May is always a really great time to bring it together. And here's a success story from Minnesota.
Oh, I love it. And then we've got a success story in the chat right now. The one that comes to us from Minnesota is just, you know what? The leadership team on their first day said, we're going to do this. We're going to try it and we're going to see what happens. They had 20 visitors. As a result, 3 new members inducted. Their thank you for closed business increased tremendously. And this was only 5 weeks into the game. They're counting all of these points and generating them, but it gets the members collectively engaged and involved in participating in the meetings. And we're seeing so many chapters that started this in October as a quarterly event, and they continued it in the new year.
All right, and so just like that, we need some champions if you choose this path.
Yeah, and you'll notice the benefits of the champions are all the same. They're going to experience that national exposure for their business, those leadership skills, increased BCP. Some of the individuals that might be really great at championing this are those D or Eagle personalities who are really going to lead the teams. So we're going to create teams. We're going to have some fun with this. And we need a leader of all of those teams. So that's where you kind of, you go to that D personality. And then we've got the I or the parrot who's going to motivate the members to keep them engaged, cheer them on, let them know we've got this, the positive benefits as a result. And then the C personality or the owl, they're going to help with that tracking and reporting. You know, sometimes the D's and the I's, they just want, they want to have the fun. They want to be out there. They want to be visible. And they need a little bit of help. So a great team of these 3 individuals would be fantastic for making this happen and just very streamlined delivery in the chapter. Not to leave out the S. They can definitely participate as well, but.
Yeah, definitely. So someone was asking exactly what is the Bni game? Do you want to describe it? Should I do it?
You know what? Actually, if you want to go to the next slide, I
Is
think
it on here?
got,
Oh, we got
right
a scorecard. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So the Bni game is really taking all of the members in your chapter and creating teams. And then the teams together collectively work on accumulating points. And you accumulate the points by this schedule or recommended point schedule that you see on the right there. So things like arriving on time, inviting a visitor, passing referrals, all of these areas, one-to-ones, you're going to accumulate points. So again, back to the basics of BNI and the things that we know work. But now we're tracking it and we're having some fun tracking it. Now you'll notice that this does say recommended point schedule. So maybe your chapter, all of the members arrive on time every single week, and that's not an area of focus for your chapter. You can change it. You know, so this is where you get to be creative and you really get to take a look at what it is that you're focused on and what you're trying to improve and create a point system around that. And then it gets tracked each and every week.
Yeah, this can be a lot of fun. What I love about it is when you're in a team competing against the other members in your group, you never want to let your team down. So what I find is, in addition to people bringing visitors and referrals, people show up. They don't want to miss a meeting without a substitute, and they don't want to let their group down. So they do tend to participate higher than they typically do. And that always yields more money, more referrals, and of course, more members into the group.
Absolutely. I like that Bruce says, you know, they add extra points for converting a visitor into a member. You know, there's all sorts of things that
That's
you
cool
can
too.
do.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely have fun.
Right. Okay, so let's see. Do we want to go back to this? Do we need to?
You know what, we can take a quick look at this. It's very similar to the Visitors Day program, kind of highlighting the event. And then, but on the right, we've got the support. So there are 4 weeks of support for those growth champions for the BNI game. This talks a little bit about what we'll cover at each of those weeks. And then there's how they can register for those on the bottom. And they are all on your events calendars as well. So you can find them there. So.
Okay, great. So now contact spheres.
Yes. Contact spheres. This is a fun one. And this one is really for those chapters that are excelling in the BNI basics. It might be the chapter that last quarter did the BNI game. And now you've got this good system and everybody's rocking and rolling and you're doing really well. So you're excelling in those basics and you're looking to create a strategic plan for growth. And that strategic plan is 100% centered around the current members in the chapter. So you're going to take a look at who's already in our chapter and how can we help them. Not only is this a benefit for the members in the chapter, but it's a benefit for the visitors that you're bringing in because you can know that they're going to fit in with other members immediately and kind of get results from that. This is great for those medium to large chapters, which sometimes, they may not recognize how positive growth can be for them because they're rocking and rolling, they're doing good things. But, there's definitely some holes in areas where you can probably help some of your members. And it becomes apparent on the next chart here. So I think this one has, actually, I think I'm skipping ahead, Steve. Can we go into a success story and then?
Oh, all right. Oh, there's a big success story in Texas.
Yes. This success story comes to us from the Golden Triangle chapter, who had a president that was so engaged and all about this, and they have just had such fantastic success. He talks in here about 4 consecutive stack days. They each focused on targeted seats within those power teams. The entire chapter really supported this effort. As a result of this, which they started in October of 2020, by December, they had 5 new members that they had brought in. Actually, 6 new members. They brought in 6 new members in December, and everything just increased. Their CEUs, their one-to-ones, the energy of those new members rejuvenated the current members in the chapter. Their thank you for closed business went up. And it just worked really well. I know they continued it in January, and in February, they were looking at adding more new members as a result of being very specific with who they were focused on inviting.
Yeah, so someone asked, what's the difference between contact spheres and stack days? And so, yeah, there's some overlap there, but it's kind of like everybody's doing their own stack day within their sphere at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, and with the stack day, sometimes or oftentimes it's regarded as, okay, we're all going to invite painters, and get 5 or 6 painters. With the contact sphere stack day, so to speak, you might be looking at that whole trades in general. So you're inviting painters, you're inviting roofers, you're inviting the fencing company down the street, but you're focused on those specific professions. So it's not just one profession, but multiples of specific professions.
Yeah, and actually, I think that works better than a stack day when you're just trying to get that one profession in, which can be helpful. Like if the real estate seat opens, well, that's an easy one. But I think if you're looking at the sphere itself, as opposed to just one profession within the sphere, you can get a lot more interest and some new members in there that maybe you didn't even think you'd have in the group before you started this.
Yeah, and what's even cooler, kind of like a hidden side note benefit, is you may find that you have a better opportunity to divide up some of those professions. So if you've got multiple painters in the room that see the benefit of this, and through the conversations and working with the membership committee, you can actually end up bringing in 2 painters because you find that 2 of them really want in the group, and one says, you know what, I'm happy with focusing on residential because quite honestly, I don't like commercial. And the other painter says, well, hey, commercial is my niche. So I'll give you all the residential, you give me all the commercial, and we're rocking and rolling. And then the chapter gets 2 new members.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're kind of focusing on trades right now as you're giving these examples, because I hear a lot from people that trades are so hard to bring in. And I think it's because if you bring them in one at a time and you don't have tradespeople in the group already, they don't necessarily see that value. But if you bring them all in together in a room where they can talk to each other and see that there's a possibility of a lot of business happening, then they'll be more willing to give up the time where they're typically on the job to be at your meeting every week so that they're getting the business on a steady basis.
I couldn't agree more. And actually, I saw a question pop in the chat really quickly about, with the trades exploding and things, it is hard to get those trades. So sometimes the invitation for them looks a little bit different. This is our opportunity to introduce them to others in their field that can help them. So it might not be to help them grow their business right now. It's to help them grow trusting relationships with other tradesmen that they can refer each other to. It could be, having the conversation very early, early on about if you're a general contractor and but you only want the big jobs. Why don't we bring in a smaller startup that you can build a relationship with, and you guys can work together, and they can take those smaller jobs and that they're not capable of doing those larger jobs. So there's so many opportunities. It's not always necessarily about growth all the time. It's what are their needs and how can we help them?
Right. Bruce was talking about, getting multiple people for the same seat to apply so that you're getting the best fit for the group. I couldn't agree more. If you were interviewing for a job, you wouldn't just have one interview with the first person and say, all right, we're all set, we're going to take this one. No, you obviously want to, whenever you can, interview multiple people for that same seat and make sure it's the best fit, someone who's going to contribute, bring visitors, and stay in the group for a long time. All right, chapter champions again.
All right, here we go with those chapter champions. We've got all the benefits laid out to being a champion. Some of the ones that work really well with this is with the Contact Sphere Growth Challenge. It does start with kind of a strategic plan. So it'd be great to have that C or that owl personality that's going to really help with planning that out. What does it look like? What's the benefit of focusing on one specific contact sphere ahead of the other contact spheres, and tracking that? So they do really well with this. We've got the parrot that is going to just be that positive voice, creating that excitement, getting the members engaged each and every week of the program, really just helping them to stay positive on things. And then that S, that dove personality, they are very solutions focused. So when those challenges come up, similar to the conversation we just had, oftentimes that S or dove can say, oh, well, they're not joining because, or we're not getting them to come because we're not meeting them where they are. So they're so open to seeing the other side of the coin that they can help ensure that we're having the right conversations with people, not just the conversations that we think we should have.
All right, so let's, if I can get my cursor to work. There we go. Here's the big page.
All right. Yep. Similar to the other two that look like this, we've got all the information for those detail-orientated folks. But again, on the right, this is a 4-week workshop that we're going to roll out. This talks about what we'll cover on each of those workshops. And these happen, let's see, the Contact Sphere Challenge happens on, I believe, 2 o'clock. 2 p.m., 2 to 2:30 p.m. on Eastern Time on Tuesdays, followed up by the Visitors Day program at 3 o'clock, and then the Bni Game will be held at 4:30.
All right. I think is there one more on Contact Spheres? Oh yeah, the Contact Sphere sheet.
Oh, this is the one I wanted to jump ahead to. I love this sheet. You guys will have an editable PDF as well as an editable PowerPoint that you can use to share at your meetings each and every week. But this visual is so powerful when we look at this. And the first thing you want to do is fill in the members' names under each of those categories that you already have. And then right away, boom, you can see where the holes are and what it is that needs to be focused on. And then you just build out from there and work with it. If you've got every single one of these filled in, I'm willing to bet there are more professions within these spheres that we can look at.
And people are asking about this sheet. Is that something that is available now? Or coming soon?
I believe, well, we'll send this out with the PowerPoint. We will be sending this out.
Mhm.
I don't know that the Activate one is in BNI Business Builder, but you can probably pull up the one from Restart the USA from
That's
Facebook.
true. Yeah. Those who are asking, I cannot share anything into the chat. This is a webinar, and Zoom does not allow us to put any files into the chat as opposed to a Zoom meeting. Hopefully that will change at some point, but we will be emailing everybody a video of this webinar and a PDF of the slides, so everyone's got them. And whoever said take a screenshot is man after my own heart. I am a screenshot person. When in doubt, just save the screen. All right. Oh, before we get to this, let's take a little poll.
Ooh, another poll. Nice.
Yeah. And it's this one. Based on what you've seen today, which is the best growth event for your chapter? Which one do you think you'll be trying to get everyone to take part in?
Oh my gosh, I want to see what the results are. What do you guys think? It's exciting, Steve.
This
What
is
do you think?
actually pretty cool. I would think that Visitors Day would be the one that people would choose because it's so traditional. But what I love about Activate is that it's choose the event that's the right one for your chapter that's going to get you the results.
Mhm.
So however this works out, I'm sure that people will use one of the three. My guess is, yeah, I'm going to go with Visitors Days, but let's see what happens.
All right.
And
Well, then I
polling in
can't pick
about 5 seconds.
Visitors Days. I'm going to go with the Contact Sphere Challenge.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But let's see. All right. I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3. We still have a few last second votes, but all right, here we go. I'm going to end it. Share the results. Here we go.
Yes.
And it is contact spheres. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I can see why contact spheres are popular because it really is the simplest way to get everybody in the related business to say, who are we missing that can really make this contact sphere take off? So yeah, that's great. We've got a lot of Visitors Day people and some Bni Game people as well. However you do it, it's worth the investment of time to get a great result, to grow your chapter, to make more money, to get some camaraderie going on. There's no downside to doing this.
I couldn't agree more. And thank you, because now I get to tell Steve I was right.
You were, but only by 2%.
I will give you that. And I have to say, Visitors Days is still my favorite, but that's okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about social media.
Holy cow. This is really exciting. You guys have been asking for it, and it is so fun to be able to share this. So Steve, don't make us wait anymore. Let's see that next slide.
We have really great stuff to share. Let's start with this.
We've got these cool social media templates. Oh my gosh, you know, they've got the Activate logo on there. They've got BNI, but it's really just very easily eye-catching to draw attention to a specific visitor or profession that you're targeting, letting them know that they're invited to come meet your network and come visit your chapter. I love on the bottom where it says activate your business growth today. So, I mean, it really is true. Members can invite, they're going to see benefits very quickly, and visitors have the potential to do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These will look great on LinkedIn and Facebook or wherever you are marketing yourself. It'll work great on Instagram or Twitter, but they're really great just to use to get people's attention and then put a post below it and put in the day and the date of your event and get some really great, new visitors that you maybe wouldn't have had otherwise. Stephen is asking where the images can be found.
These will be shared with our chapter champions, as well as through our communications and Friday emails. And I'm sure we'll probably have them on BNI Business Booster as well.
Yeah.
But wait, it's not done. We've got
I
more.
love this one. This one is so specifically targeted. I love it.
I know these are so beautiful. I they speak for themselves, really. And exactly what you were saying, Steve, you don't have to put a lot of effort into this. For those of our members, you know what? You just throw this out there on LinkedIn or Facebook, and it says everything that you needed to say. Click here to register. You're done. Um, they're just awesome.
Yeah, and I love that it says we're looking for a quality company to give referrals to. That is as simply put, to get people's attention, to come on an event that's not going to cost them anything.
Mhm.
This should be a no-brainer to get this out to as many people as you can to come to your event. Oh, there's more. Let's talk
There
about
is.
this.
Oh, these
I like winning, so this is something that I would use.
I love these. These are virtual backgrounds to recognize members as they bring in new members into your chapter. So, if you're a BNI builder, I believe this is if you sponsored one new member, a leader is two new members, and a champion is three new members. But then you get to proudly have this Zoom background. One of the benefits of being a chapter champion is I can just visualize it, but you bring these and you have these backgrounds at those workshops that we're doing, people are going to want to reach out to you. They're going to say, oh, they're already doing it. They've already sponsored. So you're not just getting the recognition within your chapter, you're getting the recognition with workshops that you participate in, leader roundtables when you go there. So you're getting this additional exposure at all of your BNI events. They are so fun. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, by the way, people were asking, I know it says here to click here for these templates, but that's only if you actually have the PowerPoint itself. So these are going to be available, or they are available now. Is that right? On
These ones
bnibranding.com?
are on BNI branding. Yes.
Okay. So you can go right there and you will see that. Okay. So this is really cool. I definitely, I'm not in a chapter, but I'm still going to steal one of these and just use it for myself. But hey, here's how we're going to figure out how to qualify everybody.
So this is another PowerPoint slide that you can share at your chapter meetings. So just keeping members focused on really the celebrations as we go along the way. So these are editable, and the leadership team can go in, you can write in the names of the builder, the leader, and the champions. You can put an X over each of those numbers as you progress towards getting your 6 or 8 or 10 new members, whatever your chapter goal is. But it's just a fun way to track it and share it each and every week, and keep your eye on the ball for what you're working towards.
So people are asking, do you know offhand which folder in BNI branding they are in?
Those templates, I believe it's in there's a social media folder.
Great.
And they will be in there.
Right. Yeah, we're going to hit Q&A in a little bit. So if you have a question, you can put it right into the Q&A section, and we will get those as well. Oh, somebody put a link into the chat. Even better. Thank you, Tish. Very cool. All right. So here's our deadline. It's pretty soon, if you hadn't noticed.
It's a week from today, actually.
Yep.
But from those polls, I'll tell you what, it sounds to me like the members, you guys know what's going to work for your chapter.
I
You
agree.
don't have to have the plan laid out. It's really submitting the form, selecting your growth accelerator, and then if you have one chapter champion, start there. Because I think the question was asked, what if we want to add someone? Just submit another form. But we do want to ensure that that first one for your chapter does get submitted on or prior to March 12th.
Yeah. Okay. It's Q&A time.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Q&A.
Wait, actually, Deborah, I see her question. She says the trainings start Tuesday the 16th. That is correct. The first round of trainings start on March 16th.
Great. All right. Let's see. Do the new members have to be joining your own chapter, or does a new member that joins a different chapter also count?
That is a great question. And actually, I am really glad that that was asked because this is a great way to talk about how important it is that members follow up and really take the time to invite that visitor and do the phone call, because it is the visitor that designates the sponsor. So it is the name that that visitor puts on their application as sponsor that is the person that gets credit for sponsoring them.
Yeah, I think as long as you are making sure that you're sponsoring by name, that's fine. But and it's great, especially if you know someone who wouldn't be a normal fit into your chapter because the seat's already taken. That's really great givers gain.
Mhm.
Will the drawings be for each region or each chapter? Says Leslie. And so I have an answer because I didn't know the answer, so I reached out to Harmony.
Oh,
And she
good job,
said,
Steve.
the best thing to do is talk to your executive director or regional director, depending on your chapter. It really depends, but definitely reach out to your director to find out exactly the best way to do that. Okay. Can champions do more than one option?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that if you really needed to grow that chapter that's got 8 members, you could do, I think, like a BNI game that led up to a big Visitors Day event. Why not? Right? Or a contact sphere thing. You can definitely kind of mix and match these ideas. Whatever is going to get you the desired result that you need. And if you need a lot of members, do what you can to make it happen. You don't have to bet it all on one day. You can do it throughout these 2 months. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's a good question for you, Michelle. How do you get your chapter motivated to invite?
Oh, that is a
You've heard
big
that
one.
question many times.
So many times. I mean, and there are a ton of different ways to go about it. I think the first thing that is the most important thing is not talking about inviting at all, but going back to that individual member and having a conversation with them about, or as a whole. You can even do it in front of all of the members, as a champion, kind of delivering. What is your why? Why are you here? And then start having your members put their why in the chat. It can be to pay off my mortgage. It can be to send my kids to college. It can be to buy a vacation home. So start getting the members to think about why they are there. What are their goals? What are they trying to achieve? And then it's really a series of just connecting the dots from there, because, okay, guess what? We want to help you get there, but we can't do it alone. This is why we're in BNI, to have teammates to help us achieve our goals, to build relationships with, so that we can get intertwined in other networks. So it starts with the individual member, and then you build from there, and you get them to see that, oh my goodness, when I invite, I'm marketing my business. When I invite, I'm exposing myself to a new network. And that's not only for me, it's for my whole entire chapter. So don't start with a conversation on inviting. Start with a conversation about what the member is working towards.
Yeah, I agree. I always start with, are you getting all of the referrals that you need? Right? It's a simple question. Because there are some people who do very well in BNI, but would you do better with more referrals? Sure. Why not? This is what we're trying to build, that network that's got your pipeline filled consistently throughout the year. Especially those people who are in seasonal businesses where sometimes they're getting a ton of business and think this is the greatest thing in the world. And then the season changes and they're not getting that kind of business, but they're really working hard to network at that point. More people in your contact sphere, it just means more referrals.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And there is a kind of caveat to that, though. When we only talk about more referrals, we may have those members that are like, well, I'm killing it. I
Mhm.
have, oftentimes I have more business than I can handle. I don't know what to do. And they may not be as inclined to
Mhm.
invite because it's working for them. So then it becomes a different conversation. But if we don't know what their why is, or what they're working for, or where they need help, then we can't motivate them. So for them, I am so glad that you're doing so well. Number one, we have members in our chapter that are not doing that well.
Mm,
So then we really get to focus on giver's gain and helping someone else. But if you're that busy, what would help you? Are you the right kind of busy? Are you doing exactly what you want to, or are you doing what you have to? And then, it changes, but it comes down to each individual member.
mm. Yeah, a few people are asking if we're going to get a copy of the slides and everything. So yes, we will be emailing out a video of this webinar plus any support materials we can, probably the slides and anything else we can get you. Someone asked about kind of tagging the support stuff that's on branding with Activate. That's not a bad idea. Thank you for that suggestion. Okay, let's see. If we have selected one option already, do we have the ability to choose a different option?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if you've already selected an option and submitted all your stuff, when you register and use the QR code, what that does is it opens up the door for what I call a Friday email. So every Friday, I'm going to send out an email that has all of the links to upcoming trainings, so that you can register. We'll have education moments in there, plug and play, ready to deliver. We'll have open networking topics. So signing up allows you to receive that email every Friday with upcoming things. So if you signed up for the Visitors Day program and then you're like, wait a minute, I think we want to go to the Contact Sphere Challenge, you're going to get all of that information each Friday.
Can you reiterate the times for the workshops?
Yep. So starting on March 16th, 2 to 2:30, we have the Bni Game. These are Eastern times. 3 to 4, so 1 hour, is the Visitors Day program. You know what? I think I said it wrong. I think it's actually 3 to 4 is the Visitors Day program. The Bni Game is 4:30 to 5, and Contact Sphere Challenge is 2 to 2:30.
All right, and we'll post these on calendars, I assume, or?
They are all posted on calendars.
All right, that's great. All right, let's see. So that was, oh, there it goes again. Same question you just answered. Let's see. If we are already registered for a May Visitors Day event, can we switch to an April event to get an earlier, and then get into the earlier training sessions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're at the point where you can mix and match and do whatever you want, since we haven't really started anything officially yet. So in the next week, it's choose your own adventure and then sign up for those trainings. Okay, let's see. If a past member reapplies, does that count as a new member?
In the past, and I mean, I just know based on past experience, if they submit a application payment and membership dues, that constitutes a new member.
Okay. Will this be in Bni Business Builder to review later? Yes, it will. Give me until Monday. I'm probably going to send out a YouTube link today just because it's faster to upload. But you'll have both. Let's see. How can we find the best referral partners for each profession to see which the chapter might be missing? Oh, a list. Okay. I think the sheet that you showed is really the best way to do it, right?
It is.
Extra sheet.
That we used to have. I can't imagine that it's not still there. In BNI Connect, there was a report that showed professions not in my chapter. And it actually just gave a whole list of professions. Sometimes I've seen members that have visited other chapters on like just going and clicking on other chapters and looking at their rosters to get ideas for professions that are not in your chapter. And then really at the end of the day, talk to your members. Who do they want introductions to, and who do they want to connect with?
Absolutely. All right, so we are at the top of the hour. The chat is telling me that there are some hungry members So I think we will wrap up right here. Michelle, any final words?
Let the fun begin, man. I'm so excited. That's it. Let's go rock this.
Absolutely. And please take advantage of all of the good stuff that we're showing you, but make sure that you, by next Friday, have signed up. I'm curious how many people have already signed up. You can throw that in the chat before we hang up. Remember to give yourselves all one CEU for being on today. Michelle, thanks so much for presenting all of this great information. This is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to Activate.
Yes, me too.